right. Well, appreciate everyone being here. Just super excited about, starting the second year and getting into this. We've worked really hard over camp and the summer and last year. So hopefully this isn't the last time I'm in a very good mood. That wouldn't be the plan. So, but just super excited for us to get out there and go play. It's kind of, you watch all the games last night. The FBS games will start tomorrow. So just really excited.
Coach, how does it feel preparing against the team you were trying to help win just a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's obviously, part of this game. I credit Coach Ciano for a lot of things that have gotten me to this point. All the guys I work with, from Coach Shiraka to Dave Brock, all those guys that are over there. I could name them all, but it's certainly special for me. It was my first chance to coordinate in the Big Ten. Coach gave me that opportunity. I'm really happy about a lot of the things we accomplished together. Back-to-back bowl games. We took over a defense at the time was struggling. That's how I got the opportunity. And, in 2 years we got it to a top 15, or we were 16th in total defense. And, those are the good things. I certainly want some things back. Not happy with kind of the way it ended defensively there. A lot of things go into that last year. We were playing a lot of the guys that are probably going to line up against us now as young guys, but kind of some things I want back. I want back that UCLA game. I want back the USC game, and I want back my Illinois call, zero blitz at the end of the game. So got to execute them, but ultimately unfortunately, you remember the negative a little bit, but I try and focus on the positive in my relationship with Coach. We're still close. It'll be great to see him, and just great to see all those guys because I know how hard they work, and certainly that's rubbed off on me.
Is it easier a little bit to prepare for this opening game compared to most opening games because you at least have an idea of what they do on offense and defense?
Yeah, I think maybe with the identity part, like this is going to be a very physical, violent game. They're going to play extremely hard. That's what Coach Ciano teams do. So wouldn't expect anything less. So maybe from that standpoint, I could tell you from being there for 3 years, I know how he works. I know how they work. I know how physical it's going to be. I mean, it's a Big Ten opponent. So, but from the X's and O's standpoint, I mean, certainly working there with Kirk and all those kinds of things and going against him before, right, when I was at Rutgers and he was at Minnesota. But off seasons, or you have new studies, you do a lot of things, and then certainly their whole defense is brand new. So that'll be kind of the unknown we have to handle. I think in first games, regardless of what you think there's a level of unknown that comes out that you got to be able to handle.
You be practicing at night at all this leading up to the game?
No, we did that in camp. So the way we structured camp is we had some night practices, and then our two scrimmages were on Thursday at 6 o'clock. So I've tried to do, us and our staff have tried to put this together so that, we give every opportunity for our guys not to be caught off guard by the moment. Because it's a special moment. I mean, opening day at Rutgers is special. There'll be a lot of people there. They're the Thursday night game. It's the Big Ten Network game. I've coached in it before, and the level of excitement's really cool in terms of the game day atmosphere they create. So we've tried to give our guys that, which I thought that's what our team struggled with last year, just those environments, the anxiety that goes with that. So, yeah, we scrimmaged at 6. We went underneath the lights. We did everything from a pregame routine. I brought them back in the locker room, gave them the amount of time they're going to be in the locker room. We did game simulations. We had iPads. We tried to do everything we could do to put this team in a situation for when they get out there. It's 120 by 53 and a third. I talked to them the other day. It's like the movie Hoosiers. Go out and measure it. Like it's the same field, no matter who you play over these 12 games. But we gotta stick to us and go out and be us.
Talk about the familiarity. The other end, is there anything you need to do to guard, considering they know you pretty well as well, and obviously Coach Guy and a lot of you guys?
Yeah, I think certainly from a game plan perspective, I would say more of the UMass defense and Rutgers offense from working together. I think there's some familiarity there. But I think, when you have off-season studies and, I don't know what they believe, obviously, what the strength of their team is. Obviously, KJ Duff and Antoine Raymond, I'm sure they're excited about their O-line. I know their young receiver core is good. So, all those things, like who knows how they're going to attack. But I know the mentality of what they are, right? They're going to try and run the ball down our face and make us quit. I think Kirk calls it body blows. Right? Like a heavyweight fight, when you drop your hands and you're standing there and then late in the round and go out and get you. So I think from the mentality standpoint, yes. From a game plan standpoint, I mean, all of football is really kind of the same plays. I think it's who you put in those positions to get the plays. And I certainly think UMass offense and Rutgers defense is a little bit different, right? There's 2 new coordinators. They have a whole new staff. I recognize, some of the names there that were younger when I was there, but there's a lot of guys I do not know. I just wasn't there for it. So, but I'm focusing on trying to get our team ready for what the mentality will be to have a chance, right? The physicality, the grind, the strength of their team, right? How big they're going to be up front, especially, and how strong they are. So that's what we got to be prepared for.
How do you think you guys stack up, like roster for roster, 2 deep for 2 deep?
Yeah, again, I think, I don't know much of their defensive guys. Certainly on offense, I was there when KJ and Antoine were younger. Kobe was there, who's like the strongest guy in the world at the time. So he's a big dude, but we're in better position to go compete in this game, 100%. And I've made it very clear to the team we're going there to win. Like, that's why you play the game. You get 12 opportunities, you go there to win. But we'll find out. I mean, both sides, there's anxiety. There's the first game of the year. Usually that first game of the year is a little bit sloppy if you're not ready. Penalties, turnovers, MAs, and busts when you grade the film. But we're excited. Like, I think our guys want this opportunity. And ultimately, that's why they play the game, right? You only get 12 of them, so you got to go win them.
Coach, speaking of the 12, how are you going to measure success this year, putting aside the wins, the bottom line, the wins?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that's a big thing to put aside, but how are you going to measure success aside from those metrics?
Yeah, I think second year for me, I think there's a lot of more hands-on in terms of the culture, how we run the program, nutrition, weight room, academics, just day in and day out life. So the standard, of our culture will obviously always be day to day and living up to that. But I'll make no mistake about it. I mean, you mentioned wins and losses. Like, we're here to win. Like, we want to win MAC championships and go to great bowl games. Like, that's why I believe Ryan and the chancellor have hired me to get this thing right. And certainly with everything that they've given us now and being in year 2, I just feel more comfortable that our hands are on this more than maybe it was in year 1. I reflect back to my first time being a head coach. I was there for 5 years before. This is brand new, last year. So feel very good. But here's what I would tell you. Success and goals, if you shoot low, you're doing it wrong. Like, if I tell a team, hey, let's just go out and win an FBS game for the first time since 23, let's go get a home FBS win for the first time since 21, they'll be looking at me like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So we're very aggressive in the way we think. I think that's the only way you can kind of play this game and ultimately get our fan base to what they want. And that's what we want. We want to make them proud.
And so what do you tell the rest of the college football world? What's the message you want them to know about UMass football this year?
Yeah, I hope when you turn on the tape, you're going to see a team that, like, wow, this team A is way better than the year before. But, it's like me. When I turn on a tape and I see a really good team, it kind of makes you think for a second, like, wow, we got to be hitting on all engines. I didn't know if that was probably the case when you turned on our tape last year. So we just want to build our identity from what we talk about on the field, to show up on tape. I think that's the biggest thing I want people to see is like, wow, look at this roster, look at this turnover, and the way they play the game, they respect the game. And I think ultimately that's what I've been trying to talk to them about.
When did you start scripting for Rutgers, and what was the transition like from general training camp to that game plan?
Yeah, so we finished our, second scrimmage, which was on a Thursday. Then we practiced Saturday, Sunday, with a little bit, only one period. We still did a lot of UMass on UMass. And then Tuesday, Wednesday of this past week, we had kind of a bonus 1, bonus 2, which is very common, when you get into these situations. So Saturday, technically, a week from tomorrow, we did it. So we went Saturday, Sunday, but really Tuesday, Wednesday was more the heaviness of it. And then certainly today we're going to go out. We're going to execute a Friday practice and go out and do that. And then we start game week.
In terms of like availability, do we have any announcements on like back quarterback, injury, people that are available, Jordan Washington, things like that?
Yeah. So, backup quarterback, I'm not sure yet. Just got to keep working through that. I think guys are doing the right thing, but I'm not sure we're ready to say it's just one guy yet. You know, I see a lot of teams run into that issue as well, but we'll figure that out here over the next. We'll have a guy that's going to go in. God forbid it happens. You know, and then Jordan Washington won't be ready for this game. Specifically, he's ahead of schedule, and I'm hoping, you know, hopefully one of these first 2 home games we get him back. But he's been doing great. Other than that, we should be full on speed. Couple guys, just going to be game time, you know. So the injury report will come out with that. But this is the best I've been here, so that's a positive for us.
What does this next week have to look like for you to walk into New Jersey really, really confident?
Yeah, I think we have to take advantage of and maximize every opportunity we get. You know, I think from being around certainly that program, you know, other programs, and when you win and when you do things the right way, it looks a certain way. I think we're on track for that. But there's got to be, like, the players have to take over now, right? That's the biggest thing I think from a program in year 2. Like, the coaches got to stop driving it. We got to uphold the standard, but the players are driving it, you know. And I think these weeks of practice and game week have to, on tape, the execution's got to be cleaner. We shouldn't have to coach running to the ball or finishing or maxing out on offense and swarming. We got to go, all right? And we're on our way to that. So certainly when you turn on the tape, I think just that overall mentality and the mindset and how fast we're practicing. I think the faster we practice, the more that'll tell me that we feel really good about the game plan.
Who specifically do you anticipate to drive that effort?
Yeah, I think. I'm not going to ruin it. We'll announce captains today after practice, but you know, it's got to be whoever wants to ultimately. But certainly, I think the guys with the most experience usually are those types of guys. Like, they've played a lot of college football, played a lot of snaps, and but it's ultimately got to come from everybody, right? So you know, I had a team meeting last week. I showed the team picture. Like, it really does take everybody. Certainly in our situation, like, we're going to need everybody from a scout team perspective, all the way on through the guys that are going to play in the game. Everybody's role gets different now. You know, certainly you don't have to be excited about where you are, but you have to accept it and respect it and go work as hard as you can.
With your depth chart coming into the game, how full is it? Or are there still some spots that are really up in the air?
No, I think we're pretty much identified who's going to be there. I mean, you know, I don't think there's any decisions besides maybe the one I just said, you know, just decide on who's actually going to go in the game back up at quarterback. But, I mean, we're going to play a lot of guys. I'll tell you that right now, especially on special teams, like with this new 5-for-5, so, which is awesome. And I think that's kind of the thing with special teams, too. There's more guys excited to do it, you know what I mean, because they're not worried about that hanging over their head. But we're going to play a lot. We're going to play a lot on the D-line. We're going to play quite a bit at O-line, running back, tight end, wide out. I mean, we're going to play some guys now. So it's going to be fun.
Should we be expecting any freshmen to get meaningful game time?
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, we have some freshman wide receivers that are taking reps. You know, we'll see there. You know, special teams, yes. There's a bunch of guys. Some of them are starting. You know, so but there will definitely be freshmen on the field for sure.
When it comes to game plan, maybe for a game like this especially, how complementary is it between the units? Like, do you, Coach Kite, Coach Warner, Coach Cass, do you guys get together and say, you know, this is what we want to do on offense and how it's complementing on defense and vice versa?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit it right on the head. I think that's any good program does that. So we have our programmatic keys to success. You know, obviously turnovers, margin, explosive plays, and sacks. Right? So those are the 3 things that I look at. Can we win those categories? And then offensively and defensively, what we do on our Tuesday game plan meeting to the team, we present the 2 or 3 other things specifically to the offense or defense, but it's with the whole team in the room so that we know exactly what we need to do. And I want those other sides of the ball to hear it, right? You know, for example, like offensively, you know, meeting with Max, you know, we gotta be physical. We have to maintain that level of physicality. We got to execute at a high level. And then ultimately we have to handle the unknown because there's going to be some unknown of what their defense gives us, you know. And so you go through each phase, but we meet about it. As coaches, we meet about with the team. And then our last meeting was with the coordinators on the Friday night, you know, after we do our other stuff in the hotel. We'll meet together, and it's there for us, and we understand. Some games, hey, we're going to throw it. Some games, hey, you're going to run it. Hey, I'm going to blitz more. So just being aligned, because if we're going to do one of those things on either side of the ball, the other side has to be ready to protect that. So and offensively, we probably won't get a ton of possessions. That's just the kind of the way Kirk is, right? He runs the ball. Check with me. He can go tempo, but they're the best when they're grinding you out. Like I said, that's what they're going to try and beat us up physically, so we have to be ready for that.
Is there anyone on the roster now that camp is over that really came up and surprised you in a good way and has worked his way into maybe getting more play than you thought in July?
Yeah, I would say, Elijah Faulkner certainly we knew was super talented. I was always excited about him last year. But as he said in his press conference, when you're a freshman, it usually takes a little bit. So I'm really, really excited about him. I think he's turned a corner from his maturity and just his overall, attention to detail in the game. So I'm excited to watch him run the ball. Wide receiver wise, I'm excited for Ty. He's finally healthy and going, and he's not nagging with something. He's certainly ready to go. And then defensively, I would say I'm just excited for really the whole D line. It's all new. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of guys rotating in there and playing to stay fresh, especially the run game against that. So yeah, those are specifics ones at the top of my head, but I'm just excited about the whole program and taking this next step in a big stage.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate your help.